I heard that Turkey offered you a 2-fight deal to fight Conor McGregor, one in the ring and one in the octagon. Is that true? Is that true, bud? Is that true, bud?
Man, listen, man. Hey.
You gonna fight Conor McGregor, dude?
Called me. You know what I mean? They called me and they offered me to fight, and I talked. Me and Conor got on the phone and we started politicking, you know.
Just got one mysterious phone call, a few unexpected reports, and suddenly the combat sports world is asking the same question. Why is Terence Crawford being linked to Conor McGregor of all people? Fans expected championship talks, title defenses, and boxing politics, but not this. The more details that emerge, the stranger the story becomes. Is there really a path to this mega fight? Or is something even bigger happening behind the scenes? Who made the first move? And what are they not telling us?
Terence is just one of the greatest fighters of our generation. Phenomenal talent that could have beaten so many more fighters of our generation if he would have got those fights and if he would have, been able to been in more mega fights. But he's, 39, 38? Yeah, like Terence had a lot of good wins, but he never really got the fights consistently that he deserved, and he would have won those fights because he was that good. But he's still a general. Like, you can put him in the conversations, in my opinion, with Floyd, with Leonard.
So nobody expected Terence Crawford's name to be sitting at the center of one of the strangest and most fascinating fight discussions in combat sports. For months, fans believed Crawford was entering the stage of his career where every move would be carefully calculated.
Growing up, you get big bags where you at now, but you one of the few. I think you could sprawl and brawl. You decide you want to slide through.
Man,
you decide you want to slide through.
Trying to throw elbows?
No.
Trying to throw knees?
No, I'm not trying to
the
do
right
that.
fight.
Stop it on the feet.
You and Conor. You and Conor. What you thinking? You and Conor. That's the same weight.
Don't kick me, man.
Conor,
Kick me, Conor.
He had already built a resume that most fighters spend a lifetime chasing. He had collected world titles, dominated elite opponents, silenced critics, and established himself as one of the most technically gifted boxers of his generation.
Crawford one came up, 2-fight deal. They were saying, maybe boxing for us. I said, listen lads, I've done this. I've done the boxing. They have to come to me now. I'll do the boxing after. So it was worked out of a 2-fight deal.
Wow.
Mixed martial arts first.
With Terence?
With Terence, and boxing after. I said, he's not going to accept it. I hope he accepts it. He can fucking wrestle. Maybe we'll have to wait for his son to do it. Maybe his son will have the fucking courage to do it. Whatever. Gets on the phone. What's the crack, Terence? It's the Mac Daddy. I got the big fella here.
And Conor McGregor entered the conversation. Suddenly, what looked like a quiet chapter in Crawford's career transformed into one of the most talked about stories in boxing. What started as social media exchanges quickly evolved into something much larger, because whenever McGregor's name becomes attached to anything, normal expectations immediately leave the building.
Put on a level though. Like, he's my guy. Like, he actually, and it's mad because not many fighters have to take the time of day to sort of try and spill down the wisdom.
Yeah, right. I always say everything got a price. Because people say, like, I love my dog. I get $100. No, I get $1,000. No, I get $100,000. Hey, you can have him. Like, my thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in there.
The fascinating part is that fans are no longer laughing at the idea. At first glance, Terence Crawford versus Conor McGregor sounds like one of those fantasy matchups people discuss for entertainment. It sounds like the kind of fight that belongs in a video game rather than an actual negotiation room. Yet, the more both men spoke publicly, the more people started wondering whether there might actually be something real behind the headlines. The reason is simple. Crawford is not coming out of retirement for just anybody. Nobody seriously believes Terence Crawford would return to the ring for an ordinary fight. Enter Conor McGregor, a man who somehow turns every conversation into an international headline. McGregor possesses a unique ability that very few athletes in sports history have ever mastered. He can create interest out of thin air. Whether people love him, dislike him, support him, or criticize him, they pay attention. The Irish superstar has spent years building a brand so powerful that his name alone can dominate news cycles.
Gonna happen. After he went toe-to-toe with Canelo in the ring and whooped him, he had nothing else to prove after that. He took all of his belts. He had nothing else to prove. Terence Bud Crawford is that guy, and he will go down in history as one of the best boxers to ever lace up them gloves, bro. 42-0, 31 KOs, 5 division world champion, 3-time undisputed champion. What else does he have to prove? Everybody that was ducked.
That is why Crawford versus McGregor is different from typical crossover fight rumors. This is not a situation involving a retired celebrity looking for one last paycheck. This is one of boxing's most skilled champions being linked with one of combat sport's biggest attractions. The collision between elite boxing skill and worldwide star power is exactly why fans cannot stop talking about it. The recent exchanges between the two only poured gasoline on an already growing fire. Crawford made it clear that he would be interested in sharing the ring with McGregor, but he also emphasized that any deal would need to make sense from a business perspective. That statement might sound simple, but it reveals everything about Crawford's mindset. He is not chasing attention. He is evaluating opportunities. It will be because the numbers make too much sense to ignore, and those numbers could be absolutely ridiculous. A boxing match between Crawford and McGregor would instantly attract fans from multiple worlds. Boxing fans would tune in to watch Crawford showcase his elite skills. MMA fans would tune in because McGregor remains one of the most recognizable figures in UFC history. Casual sports fans would tune in because crossover events have become some of the biggest attractions in modern combat sports.
And tired of boxers deluding themselves into thinking they are the end-all be-all of combat sports. They're the kings, their sport is the hardest, and they look down on every other combat sport there is. Whether it's kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, any of that, they always seem to believe they have a leg up while operating in one of the most limited combat sports bases of all time, and it's predominantly because they make the most money. And this is the thing they'll always fall back on. But this weekend, big controversy, boxing versus MMA broke out after.
Before anyone even discusses punches, tactics, or predictions, the event itself already looks like a financial monster. That is where the conversation becomes fascinating because McGregor's side introduced another layer to the story. According to McGregor, discussions at one point involved a 2-fight proposal. The idea reportedly included one MMA fight followed by one boxing match. On paper, that sounds like the ultimate compromise. In reality, it sounds like the quickest way to create absolute chaos. Imagine the negotiations. One side is represented by arguably the best pure boxer on the planet. The other side is represented by a former UFC champion who built his reputation inside the cage. Each man believes his world provides the ultimate test of fighting ability. Neither side wants to surrender home field advantage. That is why the debate immediately became about much more than a single fight. It became a battle over identity. McGregor publicly suggested that Crawford should test himself in MMA. Crawford responded by making it clear that he had no interest in stepping inside a cage. From Crawford's perspective, boxing remains the hardest sport to master at the highest level. That belief is not unusual among elite boxers. What made the situation entertaining was the way both men handled the disagreement.
A sporting event, but I thought Crawford's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. If I'm making some list, he just has to be on it now.
That doesn't happen going up 2 weight classes like that and winning as a 37-year-old.
It's just crazy.
Right?
It's a crazy thing to do. He gained 21 pounds.
Who's the best boxer, in your opinion, right now? European? No, world. Best fighter in the world, yeah.
I think it's Terence Crawford.
Many believe it's you. Many believe you're the best fighter.
No, I'm not the best fighter of the world. It's Terence Crawford.
McGregor essentially argued that true fighters should be willing to compete anywhere. Crawford responded by reminding everyone that fighters from countless sports eventually find themselves learning boxing skills. The exchange became less about contracts and more about pride. It was almost like watching 2 neighboring countries argue over whose food is better, except in this case, both countries happened to punch people professionally. The deeper fans looked into the discussion, the more they realized that neither man was actually backing down. The financial side of this potential matchup may actually be the biggest reason the conversation refuses to disappear. In modern combat sports, there are very few athletes capable of generating global interest regardless of wins, losses, rankings, or championships. Conor McGregor belongs to that rare category. His name alone creates attention, and attention remains the most valuable currency in sports entertainment. Whether fans support him or criticize him, they watch him. Whether analysts believe in his chances or not, they discuss him. That level of visibility is something promoters spend years trying to build around a fighter. Yet, McGregor seems to create it naturally every time he speaks.
It didn't happen because I know both parties. I'm cool with both parties, but I probably would have broke it up if I was there.
But you mentioned something earlier that Roy Jones was your favorite fighter.
Yeah.
The athleticism he fought with mirrored yours. He was Ring Magazine's, I think Ring Magazine's been around since like the 1920s. He was Ring Magazine's fighter of the 90s. And then I think it was Pacquiao was 2000. Floyd was 2010s. You retired, right? So you retired in 2025. Those are iconic boxers. You're the greatest.
Reality presents a very interesting opportunity for Crawford. Throughout his career, he has often been viewed as the fighter's fighter. Hardcore boxing fans understand exactly how great he is, but mainstream audiences have not always given him the same level of recognition that his accomplishments deserve. He has spent years defeating elite opponents while simultaneously hearing people ask why he is not receiving more attention. A fight against McGregor would instantly solve that problem because attention would no longer be something Crawford needs to chase. It would come directly to him. The irony is almost impossible to ignore. Crawford spent years proving himself against world champions, collecting belts, and building a Hall of Fame career. Yet, one potential fight against a former UFC superstar could end up attracting more mainstream interest than several championship fights combined. That is not a criticism of boxing. It is simply a reflection of how powerful celebrity has become in modern sports. This is also why fans are beginning to take the possibility more seriously. At first, many people viewed the exchanges between Crawford and McGregor as typical social media entertainment. However, once both men continued addressing each other publicly, the conversation evolved from fantasy booking into something that at least sounds possible. Nobody is claiming contracts are signed, but people have stopped dismissing the idea entirely.
Best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his...
Another reason interest continues to grow is because the matchup creates endless debate about what would actually happen inside a boxing ring. On one side stands Crawford, a boxer whose skill set is so advanced that many experts consider him one of the smartest fighters of his generation. He can switch stances effortlessly, adapt during fights, make adjustments round by round, and solve problems faster than most opponents can create them. On the other side stands McGregor, a fighter who built his reputation on confidence, timing, precision striking, and an ability to perform under enormous pressure. Although boxing specialists would naturally favor Crawford, McGregor possesses something that makes every discussion more interesting. He genuinely believes he can beat anybody. That confidence has been a defining feature of his entire career. Confidence alone does not win boxing matches, but it certainly helps sell them. If this fight were officially announced tomorrow, the promotional tour might become almost as entertaining as the event itself. McGregor has never met a microphone he did not like. Crawford, meanwhile, has developed a reputation for staying calm until somebody pushes him too far. When that happens, the polite version disappears and the competitive side takes over. That combination could create some unforgettable moments.
The other combat sport there is, whether it's kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, any of that, they always seem to believe they have a leg up while operating in one of the most limited combat sports bases of all time. And it's predominantly because they make the most money. And this is the thing they'll always fall back on. But this weekend, big controversy, boxing versus MMA broke out after Terence Crawford and Ryan Garcia.
Imagine McGregor trying to convince the world that Crawford is afraid of him. Then imagine Crawford responding by reminding everyone exactly what happened the last time McGregor stepped into a boxing ring with an elite boxer. The exchanges would practically write themselves. The promotional buildup would likely become a battle between personality and precision. McGregor would attempt to dominate headlines with bold predictions and outrageous claims. Crawford would counter with the quiet confidence of a man who believes his skills speak louder than words. Fans would spend months arguing over every interview, every social media post, and every press conference appearance. Of course, there is another factor that cannot be ignored. Age and timing matter in combat sports. Both men have already accomplished more than enough to secure their places in fighting history. Neither fighter is chasing legitimacy at this stage of their career. Instead, they are operating from positions of strength. Crawford has the resume. McGregor has the global recognition. That combination changes the entire negotiation process because neither man desperately needs the other. Ironically, that may be exactly why the fight remains intriguing. When fighters need each other, negotiations often become predictable. When fighters do not need each other, every discussion becomes more complicated because both sides understand their own value. That is why Crawford continues emphasizing that any deal must make business sense. He knows what he brings to the table. McGregor knows the same thing about himself.
Could have been. Think about the Conor when he was like, I'm addicted to it, man. It's like you're obsessive, but that's what makes him the person he is today with, you know, being a great promoter when he does the bare knuckle fight and he goes, you'll dance for me, yeah?
October 7th is your date.
Yeah.
You're gospel boy. He's become a real villain of a guy.
That same passion and obsession he had of the game, whatever he...
As a result, the biggest obstacle may not be competitive concerns at all. It may simply be finding numbers that satisfy everyone involved. Still, the possibility continues to generate excitement because combat sports fans love answering impossible questions. What happens when a pound-for-pound boxing great meets one of the most famous MMA stars ever? What happens when technical mastery collides with superstar charisma? What happens when two highly confident athletes refuse to back down from a public challenge? Those questions keep people talking because there are no simple answers. What nobody can deny is the entertainment value. Even people who claim they do not want to see the fight somehow continue discussing it. Every new interview creates fresh headlines. Every social media exchange generates new reactions. Every opinion from a former fighter becomes another topic for debate shows and podcasts. That is usually the clearest sign that an event has real commercial potential. The truth is that boxing has always thrived on intrigue. Long before contracts are signed, fans begin imagining possibilities. They picture the ring walks. They imagine the stare-downs. They debate strategies. They predict outcomes. The anticipation becomes part of the entertainment. That is exactly what is happening here. And with every new exchange between Terence Crawford and Conor McGregor, the possibility of a blockbuster showdown feels just a little more real than it did the time before. All right, everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Knockout today and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.